This video provides step-by-step instructions for you to create this fixture using Onshape. Click below in the video description. Here you will find links to all of the resources you need to complete this project. First, there is a link for a PDF instruction sheet. Click this link and open a PDF of the project drawings and specifications in a new browser tab. Next, if you don't have an Onshape account, use one of these links to create a free account at the Onshape website. Last, there are links for each of the segments of this video. The video instruction is organized into 5 segments. In Segment 1, you will read the engineering drawings. Segment 2 will establish the design intent. In Segment 3, you will create the part model using Onshape. Next, you will check the accuracy of your model by checking its mass properties. Last, you will check the design intent by making changes to the model to see if it will update correctly. Now you are ready to open Onshape and get started. In this segment, we'll read the engineering drawing for this part called a fixture. Let's start by identifying the views provided in the drawings. This drawing contains 2 standard view types to fully describe the shape and the size of this mechanical part. First, the isometric view shows a pictorial. This helps us visualize the part in 3 dimensions. Next, the orthographic drawings are shown as flat 2D drawings, representing each of the 3 principal views shown here in third angle projection. In the lower left corner, the front view. Aligned above the front view, the top view. Aligned to the right of the front view, the right side view. When preparing to make a feature-based model, we need to identify the basic shapes and features. The front view shows a shape that looks like the letter L. All 3 views show a uniform material thickness. The back is a closed end that is aligned to the top and bottom. The top view shows a circular hole in the bottom plate. The hidden lines in the front and side views show the hole goes through the part. The front corner is rounded, forming a fillet. Next, we will look at the dimensions and notes. First, the measurement units are in decimal inches. The thickness, the material, is 0.75 inches. TYP indicates that this is the typical thickness for all of the edges. The dimension in the front view shows the length is 5 inches. The height is 4 inches. The top view shows the width is 5 inches. The hole has a diameter of 1 inch. The hole location is 2 inches from the front edge and 2 inches from the right side edge. The corner fillet has a radius of 0.5 inches. It's noted that the material is steel, and the mass units are set to pounds. Before we model the part in Onshape, we have to establish our design intent. For this project, we intend our model to be flexible to possible design changes and be able to update without errors. First, we must identify any specifications that might need to be changed or revised during the design process. In this case, we may need to increase the length or the width. Next, we need to identify the features or relationships that should remain the same if the changes are made to the finished model. First, the general shape and material thickness will stay the same. The size and depth of the circular hole will remain unchanged. The location of the hole, relative to the front and side edges, will stay the same. Last, the size of the fillet on the corner will remain unchanged. When creating the model, our choice of features and constraints will determine if the model will change predictively when revised. To check our design intent, we can revise the part and observe the results. So if we change the length or the width, the model will update as predicted without errors. So, in this project, we need to make sure we use dimensional constraints to fix the hole location at the set distance from the outside edges. Then when we change the length or width, the hole will maintain its relative location and the model will update meeting our design intent. Before we create our model in Onshape, let's preview the workflow that we will use. Creating a parametric model is a step-by-step process starting with a 2-dimensional sketch. First, from the engineering drawing, we need to identify the profile or closed shape that we'll use for the base sketch. For this part, we will use this L-shaped profile in the front view. We also need to note the isometric orientation of this profile so we can choose the corresponding sketch plane in the Part Studio. This will determine the orientation of the part in the isometric view. So, here is the L-shaped profile sketched on the front sketch plane. Notice on the left, in the feature list, Sketch 1 has been added to the list. We will use the sketch to extrude our first 3D feature. This will be our base feature. Now Extrude 1 has been added to the feature list. We can continue to add or remove features to the base to create the model. Here we use Sketch 2 to define the back. Then Extrude 2 to add thickness. We will use Sketch 3 to define the hole. And use Extrude 3 to remove material for the hole. Last, we round the front corner using a fillet. As each feature is created, a reference entry is added to the feature list. Each sketch and feature is listed in the order that it was created. Any of the sketches and features on this list can be reopened and edited to update the design. Create the base sketch. I've started a new Onshape document and named it Fixture. Before you start, check my workspace units. Make sure that length is set to inches. And the mass is set to pounds. Use the green check to close. Start a new sketch in the Part Studio. Click to choose the front sketch plane. Use N on the keyboard to view normal and use P to turn off the visibility of the sketch planes. Click on the Line tool in the Sketch toolbar and draw a series of vertical and horizontal lines to rough out the L shape of the profile. Notice that small icons appear as I draw. This indicates that horizontal and vertical constraints are being applied as I draw these lines. As I approach the top, I'm going to touch the end of this line with the cursor to wake it up. As I pull away, I can see a vertical and horizontal constraints appear. Click, and then click again coincident to the top endpoint. Use the Escape key on the keyboard to end the line command. Notice that the sketch is now gray, indicating that it is a closed region. Also notice that the lines are blue. This indicates that they are not fully constrained. If I use my mouse and click on one of these lines and hold the mouse button down and drag, you can see that the line will move and change size. While the lines are constrained vertical and horizontal, we still need to add dimensional constraints to fix their size. Click on the Dimension tool in the toolbar and click on this bottom line. From the keyboard, enter 5 inches. Click on the left vertical line and enter 4 inches. The thickness along this end is 0.75 or 3/4 of an inch. Use the Escape key to end the Dimension tool. I want the thickness to be the same on both ends, so I will apply an equal constraint. Click on this dimensioned end and then click the other end. Click on Equal from the constraint list. Now both ends are equal. Use the Escape key on the keyboard to end the command. We have now constrained the size of the lines, but the lines are still blue. Let's see what happens if I click and drag again. The shape and size doesn't change, but it still moves around on the sketch plane. To fully constrain the sketch, I need to constrain it to the sketch plane. I'm going to use a coincident constraint. Click on Coincident from the constraint list. Click on this corner point on the sketch, and then click on the origin at the center of the sketch plane. With this constraint in place, all the lines turn black, indicating that my sketch is fully constrained. It is important to fully constrain the base sketch so the size and shape won't change as we add more features. Use the green check to accept and close the sketch. Right-click the mouse and choose Isometric View from the pop-up menu. This completes our base sketch. Notice that Sketch 1 has been added to the feature list. Next, we will create the base feature. Using our base sketch, we can use the Extrude tool to add depth, creating our first 3-dimensional feature. Click on the Extrude tool in the Feature toolbar. This is going to be a solid feature and it will be new. For the region, click on Sketch 1. The arrow indicates that it will be extruded forward. If I wanted to change the direction, I could use the arrow key here. Next, we will set the distance to 5 inches. That looks correct, so I'll use the green check to accept. We have now created our base feature from our base sketch. Looking in the feature list, notice that Extrude 1 has been added after Sketch 1. We will now use a sketch to define the back of the fixture. To start, click on the Sketch tool to start a new sketch. We will use the back face of the base as our sketch plane. Rotate our base around and click on the back surface to select it as our sketch plane. Use N on the keyboard to view this plane normal to the screen. Notice that all of the lines at the edges of the existing object light up when I mouse over them. This shows they are available to be included in the sketch because they are on the sketch plane. Click on the Line tool in the Sketch toolbar, then click Coincident to the end in the upper corner to start the line, and then click Coincident to the end of this lower corner. This line defines the top of the back. Use the Escape key on the keyboard to end the command. Notice that the region turned gray. This indicates that the other lines have been included to form a closed region. We will use this region to extrude the back. Click on the green check to end the sketch. Right-click and choose Isometric View. Now we will extrude Sketch 2 to create the back. Click on the Extrude tool in the Feature toolbar. This feature will be added to our existing base. For the region, click on the sketch profile. Use the arrow icon to change the direction of the extrusion to extend forward. For the depth, enter 0.75. This looks correct, so use the green check to create this feature. Notice that now the Extrude 2 has been added to the feature list. Next, we will use another sketch to define the hole. Click on the Sketch tool to start a new sketch. For the sketch plane, choose the bottom face of the part. Use N on the keyboard to view the sketch plane normal to the screen. From the toolbar, select a center point circle. Click near the center of the bottom plate. This places the center point of the circle. Click again for the outside edge of the circle and enter the diameter at 1 inch. To accurately set the location of the hole, click on the Dimension tool and then click on the center point of the circle. Then click on the edge and set the distance at 2 inches. Again, click on the center and the front edge and set the distance at 2 inches. This looks correct, so click on the green check to end the sketch. Right-click and choose Isometric from the pop-up menu. We can now use Sketch 3 with the Extrude feature to remove the material for the hole. Click on the Extrude feature from the toolbar. Click on Remove. For the region, choose Sketch 3. For the end type, choose Through All. If I rotate the part, I can see it goes all the way through the bottom. This looks correct. Click on the green check to end the feature. The last feature to be added is a fillet. This will round the outside corner of the fixture. The fillet is a placed feature that I can access from the Feature toolbar. Click on the Fillet tool here. Set the radius to 0.5 inches. Click on this outside corner and the radius is applied. Use the green check to accept this feature. The fixture is now complete. Looking again at the feature list. All of the sketches and features are listed in the order that they were created. Any of these items can be opened by double-clicking on them. They can then be changed or edited to make revision to the model. Below the feature list is the part list. All of these features have been combined together to create this part. In this segment, we'll check the accuracy of the model by checking its mass properties. To check the model, the mass unit should be set to pounds and the material set to steel. If the size and shape of your model was completed accurately, the mass should be 10.064 pounds. Let's look at this process step by step. First, open the document that contains the model of the fixture. Next, check the workspace units and make sure that mass was set to pounds. Next, set the material to steel. I'll go to the part in the parts list and right-click and choose Assign Material. In this case, we're searching for steel. As I scroll through, I'll see that there's a number of types of steel available, but I want plain steel. With a density of 0.284. Click to select it. Next, go down to the lower right corner and click on the Display Mass Properties button. When the dialog box opens, click on the part, and the display shows a mass of 10.064 pounds. If this was your result, then your part is accurate and matches the specifications. If not, we can troubleshoot and locate the step containing the error. We will start by going back to Extrude 1. We will check the mass there to see if your amount matches. Go to the feature list, locate the rollback bar at the bottom. Click on the rollback bar and slide it up to just below Extrude 1. The mass is now 8.774 pounds. If the mass of your part doesn't match, then look for an error in Sketch 1. Now move the rollback bar down to just below Extrude 2. This added the back. The mass is now 10.243 pounds. If your mass doesn't match, then look for an error in Sketch 2. Next, move the rollback bar down to just below Extrude 3. This added the hole. The mass is now 10.076 pounds. If your mass doesn't match, then look for an error in Sketch 3. Last, move the bar to the bottom. Again, the mass should be 10.064 pounds. If your mass is still not correct, check Fillet 1. Your part should now be complete and accurate to the specifications given in the drawings. In this segment, we'll apply a revision to our part called a fixture. First, we'll identify specifications that need to be changed by reviewing the revised drawings. First, the length has changed to 7 inches, and the width has changed to 7 inches. We should also note The hole should remain in its original location relative to the front corner as was stated in our design intent. If the part updates correctly, the revised mass should be 17.243 pounds. I've opened the Fixture Onshape document. I know the length was set in Sketch 1. Double-click to open it up for editing. Double-click on the length dimension and change this to 7. Use Enter on the keyboard to accept the change. To see what this change will look like, use the Final button to preview the result. I can see that it updates correctly. Use the green check to accept. Next, we're going to change the width. This measurement was set in Extrude 1. Double-click on Extrude 1 to open the dialog box. Double-click on the depth and change it to 7. And again, look at the preview to see that it updates correctly. Use the green check to accept this edit. I can now see that my part had updated and there are no errors in the feature list. The hole remains in the same location relative to the corner, and the design intent has been maintained. Click on the mass properties in the lower right corner. Then click on the object to view its mass properties of 17.243 pounds. If this is your result, then you have accurately revised the part. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, look for more projects at cadvideotutor.com. Also, hit the like or subscribe button. If you have a question, leave a comment.